Get your hands off him. The roar sliced through the elegant hum of champagne glasses and polite laughter. Every head in the grand ballroom of the Eco Hotel turned toward the source, Billionaire Olyamide Balagan, his face twisted with rage, his finger pointing like a weapon at his wife. Funmi Balagan stood frozen, her arms still loosely wrapped around a man she'd just recognized. Her former classmate from secondary school. 15 years since they'd last seen each other. The hug had been innocent, pure surprise and nostalgia. But Olyamide didn't see innocence. He saw betrayal. Olyamide, wait. Funmi started, her voice shaking. He didn't wait. In 3 powerful strides, he crossed the marble floor. Guests gasped and stepped back as he grabbed Funmi by her shoulders and slammed her against the pillar behind her. Her designer gown crumpled. Her head hit the marble with a sickening thud. You think I'm a fool? He hissed into her face, his breath hot with whiskey. You think you can embarrass me like this? In front of everyone. Funmi's eyes filled with tears, not just from pain, but from humiliation. Cameras flashed. Phones lifted. The entire room became a jury of silent witnesses. Olyamide, please, she whispered. He's just an old friend. Shut up. His grip tightened. Security rushed forward. 2 men in black suits pulled Olyamide back, but not before the damage was done. The room erupted in whispers. Funmi slid down the pillar, her hands trembling as she touched the back of her head. The man she'd hugged, Tund, stood paralyzed, horror written across his face. I'm so sorry. I didn't mean. Get out, Olyamide snarled at him. Get out before I finish you. Tund fled. Funmi sat on the cold floor, her vision blurring. Around her, the glittering event continued in shocked murmurs. Photographers didn't lower their cameras. Influencers didn't stop recording. This wasn't just a private marital dispute anymore. This was evidence. Hello, guys. Welcome to Stories by Stoner. If this opening grabbed you, don't forget to like this video, subscribe, and share it with your friends. Drop your thoughts in the comments. What would you have done if you witnessed this happen right in front of you? Let's dive in. Olyamide straightened his tuxedo jacket, his jaw clenched. He looked around at the sea of judgmental faces and suddenly realized what he'd done. But instead of apologizing, he doubled down. This event is over, he announced coldly. Everyone out. Nobody moved. I said out. The crowd began to disperse, but slowly, reluctantly. They wanted to see what would happen next. Security helped Funmi to her feet. She avoided everyone's eyes as she was escorted toward the exit, her heels clicking unevenly on the floor. Behind her, Olyamide stood alone in the center of the ballroom, fists clenched, chest heaving. He didn't know it yet, but in those few seconds of rage, he'd just set fire to everything he'd built. His phone buzzed in his pocket. Then again. And again. By the time he pulled it out, his assistant had sent 12 messages. All of them said the same thing. Sir, the video is everywhere. Olyamide's hands went cold. Somewhere across Lagos, in a small apartment in Yoba, a young blogger named Blessing hit upload on her Instagram story. The caption read, Billionaire Olyamide Balagan just assaulted his wife at a public event. I got it all on camera. This is not okay. Within minutes, the video had been shared 2,000 times. Within an hour, it was trending nationwide. By morning, Olyamide Balagan's empire would begin to crumble. But tonight, in the back of their chauffeured car, Funmi sat in silence, staring out the window. Her head throbbed. Her heart ached. And for the first time in 10 years of marriage, she wasn't thinking about how to fix things. She was thinking about how to survive. What do you think Funmi should do next? Should she stay or leave? Drop your comments below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more gripping stories like this. The ride home was suffocating. Funmi sat pressed against the car door, as far from Olyamide as the leather seats would allow. Her fingers traced the tender spot on the back of her head. No blood, but the pain pulsed with every heartbeat. Olyamide stared straight ahead, his jaw working silently. The glow of Lagos streetlights swept across his face in rhythmic intervals. Light, shadow, light, shadow. He looked like a stranger. "You made me do that," he finally said, his voice low and controlled. "You embarrassed me, Funmi. What was I supposed to think?" Funmi's breath caught. Even now, even after everything, he was blaming her. "He was my friend from school," she whispered. "We haven't seen each other in 15 years. It was just a hug, Olyamide. Just a hug. In front of everyone." His voice rose. "You think people don't talk? You think they don't watch us? I have a reputation to protect. And what about mine?" The words escaped before she could stop them. "What about how I looked tonight? You threw me against a wall like I was nothing." Olyamide's eyes snapped toward her, dark and dangerous. "Watch your tone." Funmi's heart hammered, but she held his gaze. For the first time in years, she didn't look away. The car pulled through the tall iron gates of their Ikoyi mansion. The driver kept his eyes forward, pretending he hadn't heard a thing. He'd been with the Balagans for 6 years. He'd heard plenty. Inside the house, the silence was worse than the shouting. Funmi went straight to the guest bedroom on the second floor, the room she'd been sleeping in more and more often lately. She locked the door behind her and sat on the edge of the bed, still in her ruined gown. Her phone lit up on the nightstand. 53 missed calls. 112 messages. Her younger sister, Bisola. "Funmi, I just saw the video. Are you okay? Please call me." Her mother. "What is happening? People are sending me things. Is this true?" Her best friend, Zainab. "I'm coming over right now. Don't you dare tell me you're fine." And dozens more from people she barely knew. Distant relatives, old colleagues, even church members. Everyone had seen it. Everyone knew. Funmi's hands shook as she opened Instagram. The video was there, pinned to the top of her Explore page. Millions of views already. Thousands of comments. "This is why I'll never marry a rich man. They think they own you. She probably deserved it. You don't disrespect your husband in public. I hope she leaves him. No woman should tolerate this. Olyamide Balagan is a monster. Cancel him." Funmi closed the app and dropped the phone like it had burned her. She felt exposed. Naked. Her private nightmare was now public entertainment. A knock on the door made her flinch. "Funmi." Olyamide's voice. Calmer now. Almost gentle. "Open the door. Let's talk." She didn't move. "Funmi, I'm sorry. I lost control. You know I didn't mean it." The same words he'd said last time. And the time before that. And the time before that. "Just leave me alone," she called out, her voice breaking. There was a long pause. Then his footsteps retreated down the hallway. Funmi exhaled and pressed her palms against her eyes. She wanted to cry, but the tears wouldn't come. She'd cried them all out years ago. Downstairs, Olyamide poured himself a glass of cognac in his study. His phone wouldn't stop buzzing. He'd turned off notifications, but he could feel it, the avalanche coming. His assistant, Deo, had called 17 times. His PR team had sent urgent emails. Even his mother had tried to reach him. But it was the message from his company's board chairman that made his stomach turn. "Olyamide, we need to meet first thing tomorrow morning. This situation is unacceptable. The board is concerned." Concerned. That was corporate speak for furious. Olyamide downed the cognac in one swallow and poured another. He'd built Balagan Industries from nothing. 15 years of grinding, networking, investing. He was worth over 3 billion naira. He had government contracts, international partnerships, properties across 3 continents. One stupid mistake couldn't destroy all of that. Could it? His phone buzzed again. This time, a news alert. Breaking. Billionaire Olyamide Balagan under fire after assault video goes viral. He clicked the link. The article was already live on Pulse Nigeria, Lindai Kiji's blog, and Premium Times. They'd used screenshots from the video. Close-ups of his face twisted in rage. Close-ups of Funmi's terror. Olyamide threw his phone across the room. It hit the wall and clattered to the floor. But the damage was already done. By midnight, 3 major companies had released statements distancing themselves from Balogun Industries. By 2 a.m., the hashtag Justice for Funmi was trending nationwide. By dawn, international news outlets had picked up the story. And in the guest bedroom, Funmi finally fell asleep, not from peace, but from exhaustion. She didn't know it yet, but tomorrow would bring a visitor. Someone who would change everything. Someone who would help her fight back. Do you think Funmi should forgive him or plan her escape? What would you do in her situation? Drop your thoughts below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. This story is just getting started. Funmi woke to sunlight streaming through the curtains and the sound of her phone vibrating against the nightstand. Her head still ached. Her body felt heavy, like she'd been dragged through water. For a moment, she forgot where she was. Then everything came rushing back. The event, the shove, the cameras, the shame. She reached for her phone. More messages. More calls. But one name caught her attention. Zainab. I'm outside your gate. Let me in. Now. Funmi sat up slowly, wincing as her muscles protested. She dragged herself to the bathroom, splashed water on her face, and stared at her reflection. Her eyes were swollen. A small bruise had formed near her temple where her head had hit the pillar. She looked like a woman who'd been beaten. Because she had been. Downstairs, the house was eerily quiet. The staff moved like ghosts, avoiding eye contact. Olyamide's bedroom door was closed. His car was still in the driveway, which meant he hadn't left for his emergency board meeting yet. Funmi slipped out through the side entrance and walked to the gate. The security guard, Ibrahim, looked at her with something close to pity. "Madam, your friend is outside," he said softly. "Let her in." Zainab's car pulled through moments later, a modest Honda that looked out of place next to the Benzes and Range Rovers in the compound. She stepped out wearing jeans and a simple blouse, her natural hair pulled into a puff. No makeup. No pretense. She took one look at Funmi and pulled her into a fierce hug. "Don't say you're fine," Zainab whispered. "Don't you dare." Funmi's carefully built walls cracked. The tears she'd been holding back finally came, silent and hot against Zainab's shoulder. They stood like that for a long moment, 2 women in a driveway worth more than most people's homes, holding each other against the weight of the world. Inside Funmi's bedroom, Zainab locked the door and turned to face her friend. "How long has this been happening?" she asked quietly. Funmi looked away. "It's not what you think." "Funmi." Zainab's voice was firm. "I saw the video. The whole world saw it. And that wasn't the first time, was it?" Silence. "Talk to me," Zainab pressed. "Please." Funmi sank onto the bed, her hands twisting in her lap. "It started small. He'd get angry about little things, how I dressed, who I talked to, how I spent money. Then he started checking my phone, following me, accusing me of things I never did. And he hit you. Not at first. Just grabbed me, pushed me, slammed doors, broke things." Funmi's voice dropped to a whisper. "But it got worse. Especially when business stressed him. He'd apologize after. Buy me gifts. Promise it would never happen again. But it did. Every time." Funmi's shoulders shook. "And I stayed because I didn't know what else to do. He controls everything. The money, the house, the cars. My family depends on his support. My mother's medical bills, my brother's school fees. If I leave, what happens to them?" Zainab sat beside her and took her hands. "Listen to me. You are not responsible for holding everyone together by destroying yourself. You hear me? This is not your burden to carry alone. But everyone will judge me. They'll say I ruined a good thing. That I should have been more patient, more submissive, more what? More dead. Zainab's eyes flashed. Because that's where this ends, Funmi. You know that, right? One day he'll push too hard, and you won't get back up. The words hung in the air like a prophecy. Funmi closed her eyes. What am I supposed to do? You fight back, Zainab said firmly. And I know someone who can help. Hey, Stories by Stoner Family. If you're feeling this story, smash that like button and subscribe so you don't miss what happens next. Comment below. Do you think Funmi should fight or flee? Your voice matters. Let's continue. An hour later, Zainab's phone rang. She answered, spoke quietly for a few minutes, then turned to Funmi. Her name is Ngozi Okafor. She's a lawyer who specializes in domestic violence cases. She's helped dozens of women escape situations like yours. She wants to meet you. I don't know. Funmi hesitated. Just talk to her. That's all. No commitment. Just hear what she has to say. Funmi nodded slowly. Okay. When? Today. This afternoon. At her office in Victoria Island. But Olyamide is at his board meeting, fighting to save his company. He won't even notice you're gone. Zainab squeezed her hand. This is your chance, Funmi. Take it. While Funmi was making her decision, across town in the Balagan Industries boardroom, Olyamide was facing his own reckoning. 12 board members sat around the mahogany table, their faces grave. The chairman, Chief Emeka Okonkwo, a man in his 60s with silver hair and iron resolve, led the meeting. Olyamide, he began, his voice measured. I've known you for 15 years. I watched you build this company. But what happened last night is unacceptable. It was a private matter, Olyamide said tightly. It has nothing to do with business. Nothing to do with business? Chief Emeka leaned forward. Our stock dropped 8% overnight. 3 major clients have terminated their contracts. The Minister of Industry called me this morning asking if we're still viable partners. Your private matter just became very public business. Another board member, Mrs. Folake Taiwo, spoke up. The optics are terrible, Olyamide. In this climate, with everything happening globally about women's rights and domestic violence, we cannot afford to be associated with this behavior. So what are you saying? Olyamide's voice was dangerous now. Chief Emeka didn't blink. We're saying you need to step down. Temporarily. Until this blows over. Step down. Olyamide stood abruptly. From the company I built. You're joking. We're not, Mrs. Taiwo said quietly. And if you refuse, we'll have no choice but to vote you out permanently. The room went silent. Olyamide looked around the table at faces that had once smiled at him, celebrated with him, trusted him. Now they looked at him like he was toxic waste. He grabbed his briefcase. Fine. I'll step down. But this isn't over. He walked out, slamming the door behind him. In the parking garage, Olyamide sat in his car, gripping the steering wheel until his knuckles went white. Everything was falling apart. His reputation. His business. His control. And it was all Funmi's fault. If she hadn't hugged that man. If she hadn't made him look weak. If she would just obey, just submit, just be the wife he needed her to be. His phone buzzed. A text from his mother. We need to talk about your wife. Come to the house tonight. Olyamide closed his eyes and exhaled slowly. The walls were closing in. But he wasn't going down without a fight. What do you think will happen when Funmi meets the lawyer? And what is Olyamide's mother planning? Drop your predictions in the comments. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. The law office of Ngozi Okafor and Associates sat on the 5th floor of a modest building in Victoria Island. It wasn't flashy, no marble floors or gold fixtures like the places Funmi had grown accustomed to. But it felt safe. Solid. Real. Zainab squeezed Funmi's hand as they rode the elevator up. "You've got this." Funmi nodded, though her stomach churned with anxiety. She'd told the driver she was going shopping. She'd left her wedding ring at home. Small acts of rebellion that felt enormous. The receptionist, a young woman with kind eyes, led them to a conference room. Moments later, Ngozi Okafor walked in. She was in her mid-40s, wearing a crisp navy suit and glasses perched on her nose. Her natural hair was styled in elegant locks, and she carried herself with quiet authority. When she shook Funmi's hand, her grip was firm and warm. "Thank you for coming," Ngozi said, sitting across from them. "I know this wasn't easy." Funmi's throat tightened. "I'm not sure why I'm here, honestly. I don't know what to do anymore." "That's okay. That's why I'm here, to help you understand your options." Ngozi opened a folder and pulled out a printed screenshot of the viral video. "I've seen this. So has most of Nigeria. But I need to hear it from you. What happened that night?" Funmi took a shaky breath and told the story. The reunion with Tund. The innocent hug. Olyamide's rage. The shove. The humiliation. Ngozi listened without interrupting, her pen moving across a notepad. When Funmi finished, she asked quietly, "Has he hurt you before?" Funmi hesitated. The truth felt like betrayal, even now. But Zainab's hand found hers under the table, and somehow that made it easier. "Yes," Funmi whispered. "Many times. Physical violence. Pushing. Grabbing. He threw a phone at me once. It hit my shoulder." Funmi touched the spot instinctively. "He broke my wrist last year. Told everyone I fell down the stairs." Ngozi's expression didn't change, but her eyes hardened. "Did you get medical treatment?" "At a private clinic. He came with me. Made sure I said it was an accident." "Do you still have the medical records?" I don't know. Maybe." Ngozi made a note. "We'll need those. What about witnesses? Staff in your home? Anyone who's seen him hurt you?" Funmi thought of Ibrahim, the security guard. The housekeepers who cleaned up broken glass and pretended not to notice. The driver who'd seen her cry in the back seat too many times to count. "The staff see things," she admitted. "But they'd never speak against him. He pays them well. And they're afraid of him." "People surprise you when given the chance to do the right thing," Ngozi said. "What about financial control? Does he monitor your spending?" "Everything goes through him. I have a bank account, but he checks it. I can't make large purchases without explaining. He cancelled my credit card once because I bought a dress he didn't approve of." Ngozi's pen moved faster. "Property? Assets? What's in your name?" "Nothing. The house, the cars, the investments, everything is his. I signed a prenup when we married. I was 23. I didn't understand what I was signing. My parents were so happy I was marrying someone successful." Her voice trailed off. "Do you have children?" "No. He always said we'd wait until the business was more stable. Then it became about me not being ready. Now I think he knew that children would make it harder for me to leave." The room fell silent for a moment. Ngozi set down her pen and looked directly at Funmi. "Here's what I need you to understand. What happened at that event, that video, is evidence of assault. It happened in public, in front of witnesses, and it was recorded. That changes everything." "Changes how?" "It means you have leverage. The public is watching. His business is suffering. His reputation is on the line. For the first time, he's vulnerable." Ngozi leaned forward. "This is your window, Funmi. We can use this moment to negotiate your freedom and your future. Funmi's heart raced. What do you mean, negotiate? A divorce settlement, protection orders, financial compensation, access to marital assets. We can fight for all of it. Ngozi's voice was steady, confident. But you need to decide. Are you ready to leave him? The question hung in the air like a judgment. Was she ready? While Funmi sat in that conference room facing the biggest decision of her life, Olyamide sat in his mother's living room in Ikoyi, facing his own interrogation. Mama Balagan was 70 years old, small in stature but mighty in presence. She wore traditional wrapper and headgear, her reading glasses perched on her nose as she studied her son with disappointment. You have disgraced this family, she said quietly. Mama, it wasn't. Don't interrupt me. Her voice was sharp. I raised you better than this. Your father, God rest his soul, never once raised his hand to me. And now you've done this? In public. For the whole world to see. Olyamide's jaw clenched. She provoked me. Provoked you. Mama Balagan removed her glasses slowly. A hug provoked you? An innocent greeting from an old friend. You don't understand. The way she... No, you don't understand. She stood, her small frame somehow towering over him. That girl has been nothing but obedient to you. She left her job when you asked. She manages your home. She attends your events. She smiles through your disrespect. And this is how you repay her. Mama, whose side are you on? The side of truth, she said firmly. I've watched you become someone I don't recognize. Controlling. Jealous. Mean. Your father built a good name for this family. You're destroying it. The business will recover. I'm not talking about the business. Her voice rose. I'm talking about your soul. What kind of man have you become? Olyamide stood abruptly. I didn't come here to be lectured. Then why did you come? Because you asked me to. I asked you to come because I wanted to look you in the eye and tell you this. If Funmi decides to leave you, I will support her. Financially, emotionally, however she needs. And if you try to hurt her again, you'll answer to me. Olyamide stared at his mother, stunned. You would choose her over your own son? I'm choosing what's right over what's easy. Mama Balagan's eyes glistened. Something I should have done a long time ago. Back at the law office, Funmi's hands trembled as she signed the retainer agreement. Her signature felt like a declaration of war. Ngozi collected the papers and smiled. You've taken the hardest step. Everything else, we'll handle together. What happens now? Funmi asked. Now, we gather evidence. Medical records, financial documents, witness statements. We build an iron-tight case. And when we're ready, Ngozi's smile turned steely. We destroy his ability to control you ever again. Funmi felt something she hadn't felt in years. Hope. But hope was dangerous. Because across town, Olyamide was making plans of his own. And neither of them knew that within 24 hours, the entire game would change. The battle lines are being drawn. What do you think Olyamide will do when he finds out Funmi hired a lawyer? Drop your thoughts below. Don't forget to subscribe. Funmi returned home just before sunset, her heart pounding with every step through the front door. The house felt different now, like enemy territory. Every shadow held suspicion. Every closed door concealed danger. Ibrahim, the security guard, gave her a subtle nod as she passed. His eyes seemed to say, I know where you went. Your secret is safe. She found Olyamide in his study, nursing a glass of whiskey. He didn't look up when she entered. Where were you? His voice was flat, controlled. The calm before the storm. Shopping. With Zainab. The lie came easier than expected. Shopping. He swirled the amber liquid in his glass. You didn't buy anything. Funmi's pulse quickened. Nothing caught my eye. Finally, he looked at her. His eyes were bloodshot, exhausted. For a moment, she almost felt sorry for him. Almost. The board asked me to step down, he said quietly. Temporarily, they claim. But we both know what that means. I'm sorry, Funmi heard herself say. The old programming died hard. Are you? He stood slowly, setting down his glass. Because this is all your fault, you know. If you had just been more careful, more aware of how things look, none of this would have happened. There it was. The blame. Always the blame. Olyamide, I didn't do anything wrong. You made me look weak. His voice rose suddenly. You humiliated me in front of Lagos society. In front of my business partners. And now I'm paying for it. Funmi took a step back, her body remembering the violence even before her mind could process the threat. But Olyamide didn't advance. He just stood there, breathing heavily, fists clenched at his sides. I'm going to fix this, he said finally. I'm going to repair my reputation. And you're going to help me. Help you how? We're going to do an interview. Together. You're going to tell everyone it was a misunderstanding. That the video doesn't show the full picture. That we're working through our issues like any normal couple. Funmi's stomach dropped. You want me to lie? I want you to be my wife. His eyes bore into hers. Or have you forgotten what that means? Before she could answer, his phone rang. He glanced at the screen and his expression darkened further. I have to take this. He walked past her, out of the study. Think about what I said, Funmi. Think very carefully. Alone in the study, Funmi's hands shook. An interview. A public performance of forgiveness. Another cage, just with prettier bars. Her phone buzzed. A text from Gozi. Did you get the medical records? Funmi took a deep breath. She knew where Olyamide kept important documents. In the safe in his bedroom closet. She knew the combination because she'd watched him open it dozens of times. He'd never thought she was paying attention. Men like him never did. She had maybe 10 minutes while he was on the phone. Maybe less. It was now or never. Funmi's heart hammered as she climbed the stairs to the master bedroom. Every creak of the floorboards sounded like an alarm. She could hear Olyamide's voice drifting up from the living room, sharp and agitated. I don't care what the PR team says. We control the narrative, not them. She slipped into the bedroom and locked the door quietly behind her. The walk-in closet stretched before her, rows of expensive suits, shelves of designer shoes. And at the back, hidden behind a rack of winter coats they never wore in Lagos's heat, was the safe. Her fingers trembled as she entered the code. 1-8-0-3. His birthday. The safe clicked open. Inside was a treasure trove of secrets. Stacks of cash. Property deeds. Business contracts. And there, in a manila folder labeled medical, were the records she needed. She pulled out her phone and began photographing each page. The X-ray of her broken wrist from last year. The emergency room visit 2 years ago when he'd shoved her into the glass coffee table. The prescription for pain medication after he'd grabbed her arm so hard it bruised down to the bone. Evidence. Cold, clinical evidence of what he'd done. She was so focused on photographing that she almost missed the other folder. It was unmarked, tucked beneath the medical records. Curiosity won over caution. Inside were documents that made her blood run cold. Bank statements showing massive transfers to an account she didn't recognize. Photos of Olyamide with a woman. Young, beautiful, laughing. Text message printouts filled with words that should have been reserved for a wife. I can't wait to see you tonight, my love. You're the only one who understands me. She means nothing. You're my future. Funmi's vision blurred. She'd suspected. Deep down, she'd always suspected. But seeing proof was different. It made the betrayal solid. Real. Undeniable. She photographed everything. Every statement. Every photo. Every damning text message. Footsteps on the stairs. Funmi's heart stopped. She shoved the folders back into the safe, closed it, spun the lock. She was halfway across the bedroom when the door handle jiggled. Funmi. Olyamide's voice. Why is this door locked? Just a second. She tried to keep her voice steady. I'm changing. She grabbed a dress from the closet, pressed it against her chest, and unlocked the door. Olyamide stood in the doorway, suspicious. His eyes scanned the room. What were you doing? I told you. Changing. She held up the dress as evidence. The one I wore earlier was uncomfortable. He stared at her for a long moment. Then his phone rang again, breaking the tension. I have to go out, he said, answering the call. Business emergency. Don't wait up. He was gone in minutes. The front door slammed. His car roared to life. Funmi sat on the edge of the bed, her entire body shaking. Her phone was full of evidence that could destroy him. Photos that proved abuse. Photos that proved infidelity. She forwarded everything to Ngozi with a simple message. I found more than medical records. The reply came within seconds. Good work. Come to my office tomorrow morning. 9 a.m. sharp. Bring Zainab. We're filing for divorce. Hey Stories by Stoner Family. This is getting intense. Do you think Funmi's doing the right thing? Should she confront Olyamide about the affair or stay silent? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this story. Your support means everything. That night, Funmi didn't sleep. She lay in the guest bedroom, staring at the ceiling, her phone clutched in her hand like a weapon. Across town, in a luxury apartment in Banana Island, Olyamide sat across from a woman named Vivian. She was 28, a model and aspiring actress. They'd been seeing each other for 2 years. What's going to happen to us? Vivian asked, her perfectly manicured hand on his knee. Nothing changes, Olyamide assured her. I'll handle Funmi. She'll do the interview, play the dutiful wife, and things will calm down. And then I'll divorce her quietly. Once the business stabilizes. Once the press moves on to the next scandal. He took her hand. You're my future, Vivian. You always have been. She smiled, satisfied. Neither of them knew that the future they were planning was already slipping through their fingers. Because while they sat there plotting, Funmi was forwarding one more email to Ngozi. One more piece of evidence. Screenshots of Olyamide's second phone bill. The one he thought she didn't know about. The one showing hundreds of calls and texts to a number saved simply as V. The net was closing. The evidence was mounting. And tomorrow, the real war would begin. In the morning, Mama Balagan received a visitor. Her housemaid led Funmi into the sitting room, where the older woman sat reading her Bible. Mama, Funmi said quietly, her voice breaking. I need to tell you something. Mama Balagan closed her Bible and patted the seat beside her. Sit, my daughter. Tell me everything. And for the first time, Funmi did. She told her everything. The violence. The control. The affair. The years of silence and suffering. When she finished, Mama Balagan took both of Funmi's hands in hers. Her eyes were wet with tears. I failed you, the older woman whispered. I saw signs. I should have asked. I should have protected you. It's not your fault, Mama. It is. But now we make it right. Mama Balagan's voice strengthened. Whatever you need, money, a place to stay, a witness in court, I will give it. You are still my daughter. And I will not let him destroy you. Funmi broke down then, sobbing in her mother-in-law's arms. For the first time in years, she wasn't alone. And across Lagos, in Ngozi's office, the lawyer was assembling a case that would shake the foundations of Olyamide Balagan's empire. The pieces were in place. The evidence was damning. The allies were gathering. Tomorrow they would strike. What do you think will happen when Olyamide finds out what Funmi's planning? Will he fight back or finally face justice? Comment your predictions below. The morning sun cast long shadows across Ngozi's conference room as three women sat around the table, preparing for war. Funmi, dressed simply in jeans and a white blouse, looked smaller somehow without the designer clothes and jewelry that usually adorned her. But her eyes held something new: determination. Zainab sat beside her, a steadying presence. And across from them, Ngozi laid out document after document like a general mapping battle strategy. "This is what we have," Ngozi said, organizing the papers into neat stacks. Medical records spanning 3 years showing a pattern of injuries. Photographic evidence of the assault at the event, witnessed by over 200 people. Bank statements proving he's been siphoning marital funds to support an affair. Text messages confirming infidelity. And witness testimony from your mother-in-law willing to testify about his behavior. Funmi stared at the mountain of evidence. Her marriage, reduced to files and photographs. Her pain, quantified on paper. "What happens now?" she asked quietly. "Now, we file for divorce on grounds of domestic violence and adultery. We simultaneously file for a restraining order to keep him away from you. And we file a civil suit for damages, emotional distress, medical expenses, loss of earnings from the career you gave up at his insistence." "He'll fight back," Funmi said. "He won't just let this happen. Oh, he'll fight." Ngozi's smile was sharp. "But we're not giving him a choice. By the time he realizes what's happening, the papers will be filed, the press will be notified, and the court will have issued temporary orders freezing marital assets." Zainab leaned forward. "Can he still hurt her? Physically, I mean. The restraining order takes effect immediately upon filing. If he violates it, he'll be arrested." Ngozi looked directly at Funmi. "But I need you to understand something. The next few days will be the most dangerous. When abusers feel control slipping away, they escalate. You cannot go back to that house alone. Not even to pack your things. Where will I go? I've arranged a safe house through our partner organization. It's secure, confidential. You'll stay there until we can negotiate a settlement or the court grants you access to marital property." Ngozi paused. "Are you ready to do this? Once we file, there's no going back." Funmi thought of the bruises, the fear, the years of walking on eggshells. The woman in the photographs, young, free, unbroken. Everything she used to be before Olyamide. "I'm ready," she said. Ngozi nodded. "Then let's destroy him legally." At exactly 10:47 a.m., a court messenger arrived at Balagan Industries corporate headquarters. The receptionist, flustered by the official-looking documents, called Olyamide's assistant immediately. Deo rushed the papers to what used to be Olyamide's office. He'd been relegated to a smaller space on a lower floor, part of his temporary stepping down. He was on a conference call, trying to salvage a contract with a German automotive company, when Deo burst in. "Sir, you need to see this." Olyamide held up a finger. 1 minute, but Deo shook his head urgently and placed the documents on the desk. Olyamide glanced down. The words seemed to blur together at first. Then they came into sharp, terrible focus. Petition for divorce. Temporary restraining order. Civil suit for damages. The conference call became background noise. The German executives' voices faded to static. All Olyamide could see was his wife's name on legal documents that would tear his life apart. "Sir." The voice on the speakerphone. "Mr. Balagan, are you still there?" He ended the call without responding. "When did these arrive?" His voice was deadly calm. 10 minutes ago." "Sir, there's more." Deo pointed to the last page. "There's a press conference scheduled for 2 p.m. today. The lawyer is going public." Olyamide's hands clenched the papers so hard they crumpled. "Get me my lawyer. Now. And find out where Funmi is." "Sir, the restraining order." "I don't care about the restraining order." He stood abruptly, sending his chair rolling backward. Find my wife. But Funmi was already gone. The house in Ikoyi sat empty except for staff who'd been instructed by Mama Balagan to pack Funmi's belongings and deliver them to an undisclosed location. Ibrahim, the security guard, had quit that morning, citing personal reasons. 2 housekeepers had handed in their resignations via text message. The fortress Olyamide had built was crumbling from within. By 1 p.m., news of the divorce filing had leaked. Entertainment blogs picked it up first, then mainstream news outlets. The headlines were merciless. Billionaire's wife files for divorce after viral assault video. Funmi Balagan speaks out. Years of abuse revealed. Exclusive. Olyamide Balagan's secret affair exposed in court documents. The photos of Olyamide and Vivian spread across social media like wildfire. Screenshots of their text messages went viral. The hashtags multiplied. Hashtag Justice for Funmi, hashtag Leave Abusers, hashtag Balagan Exposed. Olyamide's phone rang constantly. His mother. His PR team. Board members. Business partners. Even government officials who'd previously been allies suddenly couldn't be reached. At 1:47 p.m., Vivian called, hysterical. My face is everywhere. People are calling me a homewrecker. You said this was handled. I'll call you back, Olyamide said and hung up. He sat alone in his office, watching his entire world disintegrate through the window of his phone screen. Every refresh brought new humiliation. Every notification was another nail in his coffin. His lawyer, Barrister Williams, finally arrived at 2:15 p.m., sweating and apologetic for the delay. This is bad, Olyamide. Very bad. Tell me something I don't know. The evidence is overwhelming. The medical records alone would win her case. But combined with the video, the affair, the witness testimony. Williams shook his head. We need to settle. Quickly. Before this gets worse. Worse. How could it possibly get worse? As if in answer, his phone buzzed with a news alert. Breaking. Federal government suspends all contracts with Balagan Industries pending investigation into CEO's conduct. Olyamide's face went pale. Government contracts were 40% of his revenue. Without them, the company would collapse within months. They can't do this, he whispered. They can. And they have. Williams leaned forward. Listen to me carefully. You need to offer her everything she wants. The house, half the assets, a generous settlement. Make this go away before you lose everything. She's my wife. She doesn't get to destroy me. She's not destroying you. You did that yourself. Williams's voice was firm. The moment you put your hands on her in public, you signed your own death warrant. Now we're just trying to minimize the damage. At 2 p.m. sharp, Ngozi stood before a bank of microphones in a press conference room downtown. Funmi sat beside her, flanked by Zainab and Mama Balagan. The older woman's presence sent a powerful message. Even Olyamide's own mother had chosen Funmi's side. Camera flashes erupted like fireworks. Reporters shouted questions. But Ngozi raised her hand for silence. Thank you all for coming. I'll make a brief statement, then Mrs. Balagan will take a few questions. The room hushed. Today, we filed for divorce on behalf of Mrs. Funmi Balagan, citing years of domestic violence and adultery. The evidence is extensive and irrefutable. We have medical records, photographic evidence, witness testimony, and documented proof of Mr. Olyamide Balagan's pattern of abuse and infidelity. Murmurs rippled through the crowd. We are also filing a civil suit seeking damages for emotional distress, medical expenses, and loss of career opportunities. Additionally, we have secured a restraining order preventing Mr. Balagan from contacting or approaching Mrs. Balagan. Ngozi paused, letting the weight of her words settle. Domestic violence is not a private family matter. It is a crime. And when it happens to public figures with power and influence, speaking out becomes even more important. Mrs. Balagan has shown tremendous courage in coming forward. Now she'll take a few questions. Funmi's hands trembled as she leaned toward the microphone. But when she spoke, her voice was clear and strong. For years, I stayed silent because I was afraid. Afraid of what people would think. Afraid of losing everything. Afraid of him. She paused. But the night of the event, when he hurt me in front of everyone, I realized something. My silence was protecting him, not me. And I was done protecting my abuser. A female reporter raised her hand. What do you want other women to know? Funmi looked directly into the cameras. That you deserve better. That abuse is never your fault. That leaving is hard, but staying can be deadly. And that you don't have to face it alone. The press conference lasted 20 minutes. By the time it ended, the video had been viewed over 5 million times. Across town, Olyamide watched the press conference on his laptop, his face drained of color. Behind him, Barrister Williams stood quietly, waiting. When Funmi's face filled the screen, strong, resolute, free, something in Olyamide finally broke. Not remorse. Not guilt. Rage. Pure, absolute rage at the woman who had dared to defy him, who had taken everything he'd built and burned it to the ground. I want to fight this, he said quietly. I want to destroy her in court. Make her regret ever crossing me. Williams sighed heavily. Olyamide, as your lawyer, I'm advising you. I don't want advice. I want war. He turned to face Williams, his eyes cold and hard. Find me a way to bury her. I don't care what it costs. Williams closed his briefcase slowly. Then find another lawyer. Because I won't be part of this. He walked out, leaving Olyamide alone in the gathering darkness of his office. Outside, the sun was setting over Lagos. The city that had once celebrated Olyamide Balogun as a titan of industry now watched his fall with satisfaction. And in a safe house across town, Funmi sat with Zainab and Mama Balogun, eating jollof rice and plantains, laughing for the first time in years. She'd struck the first blow. And she'd won. But the war was far from over. This is only the beginning. What do you think Olyamide will do next? Will he finally accept defeat or try something desperate? Drop your predictions in the comments below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this story with someone who needs to hear it. Hit that notification bell. You won't want to miss what happens next.